So I'm turning off the texture underneath so I can see better. So I'm using the texture that we've brought up initially. Again, brightening up with the levels a little bit. And this one will be using for the main parts of the building to create these little bits of wear and tear. So just positioning it correctly and starting to remove some of the texture because it's a little bit too bigger at present. And I'm going to continue removing the parts of the texture that I don't need, because as you can see I only need at the moment the small parts of the texture and not the big ones that are the broken wall. Yeah, I accidentally moved the texture underneath, so I'm just going to reposition it. So now we can continue painting. As you can see, it looks okay at the moment, but just going to I'm going to duplicate the texture and create more variations for the other walls. Probably delete more of the texture, rotate it, and delete the sharp corners. Again, we can take that and duplicate it again further. Probably again rotate it, flip it. And one more final time, just to cover all the visible walls. At the moment it's not too visible, so I'm going to just adjust the levels of the texture. So I've tried to darken up just always a good thing to merge all the textures, and now I'm going to use the levels just to darken the texture a little bit to make it more visible and contrasty with the rest of the wall that's underneath it. So after that we can try texture inside of Maya again. And this is the result. It looks much better. Creates randomness in the plain looking texture that was before. So I continue to add on top of that. So let's get back in the inside Photoshop. Let's just trim out the corner a little bit because the destruction is a little bit too big at the moment. And the next thing I want to do is apply texture to the sides of the door. So to do this, let's turn off the texture underneath. And let's take this one, the one in the corner, and duplicate it. And let's place it on both sides of the door. So duplicate it again. And we can merge both of them and start deleting and cloning, so we have a nice texture around the door frame. So now using the clone tool and just placing some texture around the door, removing some unnecessary parts so it doesn't look too big. And one more thing that we're going to do is place some textures just beside the roof. So I'm again duplicating the one from the corner several times and just going to merge them together. Again, using the erase tool, just going to remove some of the parts so we can remove some repetition of the texture. Again, we don't need this texture on all of the roof, beneath the roof. So I'm going to remove some of the parts. We don't need the texture to be destroyed everywhere, so let's try it again inside Maya. Just waiting to load up. Now you can see the texture around the door frame and under the roof also. It gives a much more nice feeling to the building as a whole. So let's get back, and the one thing we need to do is to create a bump map. You can see we need to update it. So I'm just going to duplicate the group with the new layers that we've just worked on, and turn off the both of the texture groups and just leave the old bump map and the new duplicated group, which I merged and desaturated. So with this we have the new map and we can save it. Just replace the file, and let's we can get back inside of Maya and reload the bump map. We can preview the whole thing, so let's render it. I'm just going to save it so we can compare it. And here is the rendering. You can see the difference just from a plain looking texture to a more random one. Also, I'm going to tune down the reflectivity of the material and probably increase a little bit the glossiness, because it looked too much reflective inside the render. The next thing we're going to do is the exact same process but with the left foreground building. So I'm just going to wireframe mode so we can move more easily without the textures being too much on the system. So I'm going to do this building on the left, so I'm just going to turn on the texture to see it as of now. And you can see that the texture again is plain looking, too much plain, no wear and tear at all, almost no wear and tear. So I just loaded the texture inside Photoshop. Also I've loaded this texture that we're going to extract by the same way that we did the last one. So I'm just duplicating the main layer so I can with the levels do some adjustments and create the black and white contrast that I need to extract the texture from. Again, using the layer adjustment several times. Again, this is on per texture basis, so it's different for every texture. Now I can desaturate it, copy it, and we can create a mask channel for the main texture and duplicate the one that we've just created. So we need only to invert it, and now we can see the extracted texture. So let's copy it into our left building texture. Now we can scale it down to match the scale. We can start refining it.